Welcome back to another video. My name is Henrik and today we're going to be looking at the brand new Audi RS e-tron GT Performance. A car with 925 horsepower, 1027 Newton meters and also 0 to 100 in 2.5 seconds. That is the same as a Formula 1 car. So that's quite impressive. Top speed 250 kilometers an hour. We're going to be test driving it. We're going to look at the changes. We're going to do a 0 to 100 test and also film our first reaction to that 0 to 100 test, which is quite ridiculous, and everything else you need to know about this car. So make sure to like, subscribe, and let's get right into it. Let's start off with the design in the front. You can see we do have quite a lot of extras on this car. So the starting price of this car, around 160,000 euros for the Performance. Our variant, however, 214,000 euros. So quite a lot. We'll look at the list here in a second and just point out some key features of why this car is so expensive. We, for instance, now in the front have this new kind of design. For instance, this black, or not, well, above the black element here, this was previously not there. So you have your car color separating between the bonnet and also the black here. The black was just previously back up there. We do have the new 2D logo up on the top for our Audi, some real air intakes down here with also some sensors down there. And on the side, we also have the outside package with the carbon or the forged carbon, also the camouflage carbon. Depends on what you want to call it. In my opinion, it doesn't look too great. A lot of people will like it. Also fits the color, in my opinion, quite good. Just in general, looking like a camouflage color car then. On the side here is going to be a little bit fake. However, we do have air curtains there, so it directs the air past wheels. And in general, we get this fake shield here in the front for our grille. We have the Matrix HD lights with also the laser light in there, which are, well, do a very good job at night. And we also theoretically have a hood under here, so for a little bit of a frunk with 77 liters of storage space. I'm just going to read you a couple of things from this list to show you how expensive some of the options are here. For instance, the carbon camouflage on the outside, 4,300 euros. We have the individual color, which is this oak green color. Also code Q0 if you want to select it, 5,900 euros extra. Then we also have the active air suspension or the active suspension in here for 7,000 euros extra. Assistant package in a total of 4,540 euros. And another thing, for instance, ceramic brakes that we have on the side, 5,600. And one of the things I find quite ridiculous is, for instance, the carbon roof on here, which I personally wouldn't choose. It looks good, but it's 3,750 euros extra. And honestly, just get a black roof. Doesn't look too much difference in my opinion. You can see the carbon touches on there, obviously, but if you look from further away, you're not going to notice too much of a difference there. But yeah, 160 euros of total price for this car. And that's the active air suspension. So like I mentioned, 925 horsepower, 0 to 100, 2.5 seconds with the launch control or the boost button activated, which you have for around 10 seconds. The car is going to have 342 horsepower in the front with 409 Newton meters and then 590 Newton meters in the back with 564 horsepower in the back, so quite quick. In general, they have changed a couple of things. For instance, the electrical motors in here, around 10 kilograms, now lighter. Still a car that's going to weigh 2.4 tons, so quite heavy still, but it's also so planted to the ground, a car unlike anything I've driven before when it comes to the cornering capabilities. There's also a couple of changes they have done, for instance, for the thermal management of this car. There's a total of 4 cooling circles in here, or circuits. For instance, if the car requires a lot of power, so the total 925 horsepower, then it can also go into the circle of the air conditioning in the inside for those 10 seconds to just get some more cooling towards the battery. But enough talking, let's see what this car can actually do from 0 to 100 with winter tires on a real road and see our first impression of the 0 to 100 kick of this car. Okay, so we have already launched the car 2 times. I have not launched it, I've just been passenger and it's absolutely ridiculous. We have winter tires on here, so obviously the speed is going to be a little bit different. What we're going to do is go into the, well, press the RS button or go down here, press our drive select, go RS Performance. Then we'll also hold the traction control off for a couple of seconds until it goes completely off there. And then once we have completely parked, we're going to press the boost button to get those full 925 horsepower. Claim 2.5 seconds, and I can tell you, as a passenger, it's the most ridiculous thing and the most sickening thing I've ever done. So, let's press the boost, activate it, and go. Oh my god. So we got 2.97 seconds, but that initial launch is just ridiculous. There was a little bit of traction I felt there. Winter tires, so obviously there is going to be a little bit of traction issue with 925 horsepower. But we're gonna do that one more time. It's absolutely ridiculous. And 2.97 is still 0.5 seconds quicker than anything we have ever driven, well, launched from 0 to 100. And it is still 0.4 seconds off of what it is claimed. So this is absolutely ridiculous and not something, I don't know, I don't have words to tell you how insane this feels. For a second, it feels like you're in 0G as a passenger. 2.79, I think that's the exact same that you got earlier. Oh my god. I think with with summer tires and maybe like semi-slicks on here, this thing can easily do maybe even 2.4. It is, I felt wheel spin at the start there, and if you have complete traction, we have 3 or 5s in the back, so already quite big ones, but you can easily get this probably down to 2.5, 2.4 maybe. It's Audi, so it's usually even less than what they claim. And as you can see from the side, the car is fairly long, 5 meters in total, which is quite long, with a wheelbase of 2 meters and 90. We're going to be looking at a car that's 1 meter and 40 tall, so quite low, and also 1 meter and 96 wide without the side mirrors extended, with a turning circle of 11.6 meters due to the fact that we have all-wheel drive system in here, so we can move the rear wheels and well, just experience a little bit more maneuverability in the city, which is quite nice. Let's also look at the suspension here, because it's the active suspension that was developed with Audi and also Porsche. You can see it in the Taycan, the Panamera, or also in the Audi, which we have here with the RS e-tron, for instance, that we have. If we, for instance, open the car, you can see it's going to raise up, which is quite nice, quite a gentleman car. So if you have a wife, you can just open the car and she's going to have a nice step in there, and you can close it, and it's obviously going to also lower than the car. Again, it's just so quick and cool. It's also a suspension that works with an active damper suspension and a combination of also an air suspension. And when you're driving this in the city, bumps are basically non-existent. It's the smoothest suspension that I've personally driven. It's a worthwhile investment of 7,000 euros, especially when you're buying this car and looking to resell it afterwards. First of all, you're going to lose a ton of money because it's an electric car. Price is probably going to drop in half in the time you already want to sell this car. When it comes to the rims, we can choose between 20 up to 21-inch rims. We have winter tires on here, like I already mentioned, with this black design, which looks good, and also the ceramic brakes in the front there, and also in the back, obviously. And you can see here, because we also have the gray color scheme on our brake calipers there. We can charge the car on the right or on the left. Left side is going to be your AC outlet, and if we look on the right side, we're going to be able to DC charge it with up to 320 kilowatts. We, it's kind of hard to find a station that's going to be able to charge at 350 kilowatts. We were able to charge the car at around 200 at its peak, but the thing about this is, we were charging from around 20% up to 80. We also set our limit at 80%, and it took us a total of 19 minutes. It claims 10 to 80% in around 18 minutes. We charged a total of 60 kilowatts an hour in a total time of 19 minutes with a max of 199 kilowatts. But the thing about the curve, it's just, it goes up and it completely just flatlines. It's so amazing because it just straight the whole time until you're at your peak. We were at around 75% when it started to drop, but also most likely due to the fact that we had our limit set to 80%. But like I said, probably you can be able to charge it up to 320. We weren't able to do it because maybe of the charging station. If we do another one, I'll blend in an image here to see if it was a little bit faster or not. But still 19 minutes, and then you're going to be able to drive this car quite much further. And again, further on the side, we have our forged carbon all the way here on the side mirror. We also have it on the side skirt on the bottom. Not much has changed when it comes to the design here, but apart from, for instance, that's forged carbon. Audi RS e-tron GT now on the side pillar, just like all new Audi models, and that obviously sloped rear window. It is going to be a very wide car. You'll definitely notice that here in the back in a second. And again, our rear rims here with 305s in the back. And now probably to the highlight of the design for me is the back, because they have changed a little bit. For instance, the diffuser down here is completely new. We have the forged carbon down here, forged carbon or the camouflage carbon, whatever you want to call it. We get this new reflector down here at night, looks really good from the back, and kind of reminds me of a Formula 1 kind of regenerative braking light. e-tron GT and the new RS logo here on the side. We have the roof spoiler extended, well, not even a roof spoiler, it's kind of a trunk spoiler. And it will open automatically depending on the drive mode and the speed you're going on the highway. And under here we have an automatically openable trunk, which is obviously quite compact, 350 liters, so not much, but you can still Probably fit a couple of two suitcases in there and a couple of bags, so you can go on road trips with this. On the side, you're gonna have a little bit bigger storage space there, so your cupboards, which go fairly far down, so you can put some stuff in there. But obviously, you're gonna have to put your cables somewhere. You can put them in the front, or you can put them in the back. And the nice thing about them is that they have this hook on the side, so they're not gonna move around much, because when you do drive this car sporty, they would float around quite a lot, so the hook is quite good to have in there. And in the back, you actually have a surprisingly good amount of space. Seat in front of me is adjusted to my liking, 1.80 m or 5'11". And the thing about this car that is nice, the battery is carved out so that your feet are basically a little bit lower than where the battery is. So up here theoretically is back the battery and behind you obviously, but this is carved out a little bit, which is nice. So therefore you're actually sitting quite comfortable in here. It is still a fairly compact car when it comes to being in here with 4 or even 5 people. 5 people is not going to be very comfortable in here. As you can see, the buckle is going to be in basically your bum, which is not the most fun thing. So you also have a very, very big center tunnel. So therefore the person in front of you is going to, fight with some foot room with you. Heated seats for both of our passenger here in the back, our own climatization zone in the back, so you can change it down here. And you also have 2 USB-C ports below the center seat. Otherwise, the seating position in here, like I said, is quite comfortable. You're just gonna have to look out a little bit for your head. So I'm 1.80 m tall. I have like 3-4 centimeters max space there, maybe even 2 centimeters, so not much. Side quality is quite nice. Up top, you already got a nice fabric there. Further down, you have this Dynamica Alcantara stitching with all the yellow touches we have as well. And further down, your Bang & Olufsen sound system as well. The full seating here is also in this fabric, which is again quite nice. It's going to be an extra you're going to have to pick up, however, but still quite nice. In the center, you also have a center console where you have 2 cup holders in there, and that's about it for the back. And again, join me on the inside where you can see not much has changed apart from the steering wheel. That's kind of the only thing that has changed in the inside. It's the new steering wheel, flattened out on the top and the bottom. These 2 singular panels here, which are touch sensitive, but also buttons, as you can tell here. It's all one element, so it's not that nice and high quality. Older ones definitely felt a lot nicer and also looked a lot nicer. We also have the new logo in here, which is 2D now, so you don't have your rings in chrome like extended outwards, but you have the boost and the RS button on here, which are very nice and they also feel quite nice. Steering wheel, however, still feels good. I would have personally chosen it in Alcantara. Otherwise, lots of piano black in the center console here, also a little bit up here where you also have this illuminated at night. Your e-tron logo, we have the forged carbon going all the way through the center console here again on the side, and you'll also see it on the side step when you step into the car. One thing I also would have liked if this would have been that normal rotary dial, would have been just a little bit nicer. What I do like is all of your buttons are here still going to be physical. Let me just start up the car so you can see also how it illuminates there. So your climate control.
Yeah, ich habe die Außenlose.
Oh, it is all it's off. So if I put this up, for instance, it is all nice and it just feels high quality. That's what I like to see, better than that new infotainment system integration of the climate control. It's just a lot nicer. Let's also look at the reversing camera. You can see here, looking fairly decent. We can press on the side here, for instance, to see our rims. We can press on the back. This. Or also look at the 3D variant. Would have been nice if this would have actually been an RS model. It is not, as you can tell also by the different design in the front element here. But that's about it for that. We also have automatic parking, so we can choose here Park Assist Plus. Like I said, we have an extra of around 5,000 when it comes to all the extra for all the assistant features. We'll look at those here in a second as well. Otherwise, you have a small little tunnel in here where, well, not tunnel, but console, where you can also charge your phone here on the side with inductive loading. I personally don't like it. That's why I also have this cable, because I'm always a person that needs to have their phone within reaching distance and not somewhere hidden, because I might miss an important message, even though I mostly don't get too many messages. Down here is our glove compartment. You can see a little bit cramped there. And the thing about when you step into the car, you just have a very, well, you're basically lying in here, which is amazing and it feels cool. You're sitting in a very, well, shallow spot and it's very interesting. Otherwise, we get heated, ventilated seats and also massage function here, which are very nice. You have a button on the side, so passenger and also driver do get the massage function. Feels pretty good. Let's start off driving the car just a little bit more comfortable here. Also, quickly to talk about the infotainment display, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto Wireless. If I press on it, you can see here, obviously, Apple CarPlay. And we have a couple other things. It's the old infotainment display, so nothing new, but I like the integration of it, not the new standalone ones. I just like this a lot better. We do obviously also have the heads-up display, and when you're driving over this already, the active air suspension does such a good job. It just feels amazing. Turning circle of this car, because we do have the all-wheel steering, like I said, 11.7 meters? 11.6 meters. Just a little bit small reference here. Golf R has a turning circle of 12 meters. So it will be fairly agile in the city. And now, let's quickly press the RS button here. Let's press it a couple of times so we go into the RS Performance, which is this one. Then you have the boost button. And then you have that acceleration, which just is insane. Up to 120 in no time. But that is just an insane acceleration. We're obviously going to test drive the car here on the Autobahn as well and just do a little bit more sporty. But before we do that, let's quickly also talk about this. You can see it's like a white background. That's because it is supposed to reference the old RS2 Avant from 1992 or 1994, I think, right? I don't know why you'd put it in the RS Performance. Yeah, it's just a cool little gimmick if you know it, but otherwise it's just a white background. You can change a couple of the views here in the back as well. Let's go back into the comfort, because that's when the suspension also smoothens up quite nicely. And just here, just quickly also talk about this. It is so glued to the ground. It is insane. We'll drive a little bit sporty here in a second, like I already said. You can change a couple of things here for the view. You can have this, you can have that. You can have this. That's basically, there's just two different variants. But you can change a couple of things here on the side. If we, for instance, go down here, we can see a lot of different statistics, also lap timer, stuff like that. If you are really going for that, there's also a sport variant where you can show your G-forces. You can also switch up top, so you can have your assistance on the side, your song, or also the map, which is quite nice. If I press it like this, it's going to go fairly big. That's the thing in the new models where you can't do that anymore. You can't show the map in your in your digital cockpit. So I still like that they have it in here. Heads-up display also gives you your relevant information and puts your trajectory lines and stuff like that onto the heads-up display, your speed, and your adaptive cruise control. While we're talking about adaptive cruise control, like stuff like that, we also obviously have our cluster here on the side where we can select our cruise control, adaptive cruise control, blind spot assistance, heads-up display, 360-degree camera, and much more, all for you to enjoy the drive even on the Autobahn. The thing about an electric car, it gives you that easy transition between comfort and extreme sportiness. When you put this into comfort, you drive along with a great suspension and you don't have that much input. It doesn't feel like you have like a V12 under there and you're constantly very thirsty on the throttle. In comfort, it's a very gentle car to drive in the city with a fairly small turning circle, also very agile. The thing is just finding a parking spot that is big enough for you to be able to park in there with 5 meters of length is going to be the other thing about that. But then you can just simply press the RS button and the car is as fast as a Formula 1 car. And that's the impressive thing about electric cars, and especially this car, just that difference between comfort and performance. And especially performance on this is unmatched. Sorry, I didn't stop for you there, but it is just amazing. Let's talk about the surrounding view of this car. Rear window, obviously not the biggest. However, with 360-degree camera and stuff like that, you are still going to be having a fairly good visibility, especially on the front and also on the side. The visibility is definitely not lacking. So let's do a little bit of country road driving here. We're going to go into the RS. We're going to press it 3 times to go into the performance. There it is. And then we're going to go press the boost button and accelerate. Whoa, that is quick. It is. Every time you're doing a kickdown in this, it's I don't know, it's like you're being born again. It is phenomenal how quick this car accelerates. And then the cornering capabilities of this car. It is ridiculous how well the suspension does work in here. Let's go with around 80 kilometers an hour into this corner. Holy macaroni, there is no traction control anywhere. Control issues. You have traction wherever you go. It is ridiculous how sporty, how dominant, how quick, how I don't know the words, exuberant this car feels to drive. The cornering capabilities are unlike anything you've ever seen when driving a car. Oh my god, and then that acceleration, obviously not in the boost mode right there, but even with the 800 and some-ish horsepower that you're getting there, 815 something right around there, but you have so little body lean, so little bit of Up and down, move it up around. That is, it is so ridiculous. Oh my God. But the problem is, it completely eliminates the feeling of power and speed. I mean, holy macaronis, that is insane. Wow, you really gotta be able to drive this yourself to really feel how amazing it feels, how quick it feels. Oh my God. But what I was trying to say, it really eliminates the feeling of going fast with any other car. Once you drive this, no other car where you feel a punch, maybe even 4 seconds, feels the same. You don't get the same energy. And I think that's the problem with people that have a lot of money. I know this is something completely different now, but they always try to find that extra that gives them that feeling of something that they experienced the first time. And that's what you get with this car. You experience that punch from 0 to 100 in 2.5 seconds once, and everything else you've done before, Golf R Performance, I don't know, Audi RS3, it does not feel the same anymore. You do not get that same experience you had when driving this car. And that's why maybe so many people who have a lot of money try to find that extra kick, maybe go even do some drugs, because they try to get that extra kick just to get them that feeling they once had. And I think it's the same with gambling. I'm going completely off topic here, but I think you know what I'm trying to get at. And that is what this car is amazing at. Once you drive this, you do not want to go back to any other car because it is so fun to drive and it's exhilarating. That boost button is so addicting. You press it once and you're in a different planet. Your head gets that force into the back of its head. It's just ridiculous. My whole body goes backwards. Oh my God, I just sounded like Mario there. Yahoo! I'm not gonna go too fast past him, don't want that. But then kick it. Whoa! And the brakes, the ceramic brakes. Oh wow, that was the GoPro. Okay, that's bad. That's below my brake pedal. Why is that not secured? Okay, I'm gonna have to drive slow because that was my GPS tracker. There we go. Okay, that was unfortunate. That could end badly. But yeah, ceramic brakes on here also does such a good job. Oh my God. Wow, even the rear view mirror completely moved because it was just too much for it. Oh my God. Oh. And the ceramic brakes do such an ample job of slowing you down, in combination with regenerative braking. Wow. It is just so weird to drive this car because it is ridiculously fast that you completely lose perception of speed. Boost, kick. It is ridiculous. How fast it goes up to 200. Like, holy moly, that is quick. Let's see if we maybe can do 100 test here because I don't think he's driving too fast. There's a guy behind me, I can't do it right now. Boost, and our boost activated, but wow. So you only get the full 925 horsepower if you do it with the boost. You get 95 horsepower on top of it, and there you go. Now it's kicked down 260, right around there is where it is going to be limited. But that is just ridiculously fast. And then the ceramic brakes, oh, they do a good job. That was like 50% brake pressure. So what is my final verdict on the new Audi RS e-tron GT Performance? The design I really do like. Performance-wise, the increase is tremendous. 925 horsepower is unlike I've seen before, driven before. It is just amazing, that kick. The thing about the car is, however, when you accelerate from 0 to 100, it completely breaks your immersion of any other car when comparing it. When you're, for instance, sitting in a Golf R, 4.6 seconds is still really quick. But I was sitting in there, I was like, wow, where's the kick? And I'm driving this car, I'm like, holy moly, there's the kick. So yeah, it kind of destroys your vision of speed and power, or Jeremy Clarkson would say, speed. But yeah, I still really do like what this car offers. It's amazing to drive. Obviously quite expensive, so you're gonna have to see if you can pick up one. Maybe in 2 years it's gonna be quite fairly less of the price. Maybe then you can pick one up. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Make sure to like, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.